let's go over NAT, Nordic American Tankers, Q4 2024 earnings. All right. So this is going to be a good one. I actually have their Q4 report as well. We're going to read some tidbits from Herbjørn and what he has to say moving forward. As you see, I have 571 shares of NAT at a average of $3.32. So I have close to $2,000 in it. It's in my dividend side of things, my dividend strategy, and I'm excited. I've been holding this company for I think almost a year now, at least, or it's coming up on a year. And when you look at what's happening in the world with oil, politically, and just kind of the adoption of electric vehicles and such not being as fast as everybody thought it was going to be, oil is still a major commodity in the world, in the modern world going in the future. So if you have a good management team, which I think Herb and his family are, they do run like a nice tight ship, no pun intended. So I'm excited, and having that like 14% dividend, it's like a really unique thing because you have a 14% dividend. Technically, this is a company in Bermuda, but they follow all of American typical stock rules. So you don't get you don't get charged that extra international fee like you do with like a company in Japan. So there's just like a little tidbits of edge in this company that I really enjoy. But before we actually get into what I actually wrote down myself, let's just go to their earnings real quick and read what Herb had to say. Nordic American Tankers Limited report as per December 31st, 2024. The direction is upwards. Dividend payments continue in our 6 cents this quarter. It was a great 6-cent dividend this quarter. I made like $33 like off dividends. So that equated to quite a bit of shares. So yeah, it's a dividend paying company and they have the cash to do it. So Friday, February 28th, 2025. 90-day periods offer a short-term snapshot of a company, but it's more instructive to look at the bigger long-term picture. The direction of NAT is unquestionably upwards as we create room for profitable growth. Whatever we do, dividends remain our primary objective. As part of our plan to buy a few ships and sell a few ships, we have since the end the 2024 agreed to purchase one 2016 built Suezmax tanker from a first-class owner. The vessel will be delivered to NAT during the second quarter of this year. The price is in the mid to high 60s. The new unit will provide additional earnings and dividend capacity to NAT. We expect the vessel to be financed with cash and lease financing. As previously advised, we sold one of our 2003 built Suezmax tankers, and the vessel was delivered to its new owners earlier this week. The proceeds from the sale, $23 million, will also enhance our financial flexibility. Those are some good things thus far. Good things. All right. So here's some highlights. NAT achieved a net voyage revenue for the full year of 2024 of $225 million and a net result of $46.6 million. The average time charter equivalent, the TCE, for our fleet spot and TC vessels during the fourth quarter of 2024 came in at $26,416 per day per ship, leaving NAT with a solid operating margin as running costs of a vessel were about $9,000 per day. Okay. Let's see. We got the 6 cents. That's the 110th consecutive quarterly cash dividend. The new administration in the White House is increasing the pressure on sanctioned oil trades and sanctioned vessels. This is one reason why we are optimistic about prospects for 2025, as there will be more transportation work for NAT, a fully compliant company in all respects. NAT has not transported Russian oil the last 3.5 years. That's good. We're a fully compliant company. 150 million financing agreement with Beal Bank. Ooh. We continue to reduce emissions. All right. Each ship in NAT fleet is in excellent technical condition. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Net income 46.6. All right. Let's see what they say. Let's see what Herb says. And I like what I like about Herb is he writes these out. Like he's very thorough. I feel like he really takes care of his shareholders. It's a family-run company, and he doesn't have to do this, but he's explaining himself what he sees and what the numbers tell him, right? So a lot of companies don't take the time to do this, but Herb does. And, he's on the older side, obviously. And so he's more connected and communicates more than younger CEOs to his age. World economy and the tanker market. Political uncertainty continues, and we do not see this going away anytime soon. We see high demand for oil driven by uncertain time and a fragmented trade picture with logistical inefficiencies and a tight supply of ships. These are interesting dynamics for NAT oil tankers. Seasonal variations will occur, but as we have seen so far these last years, the trend supports future earnings at higher levels in the past. NAT in particular stands to benefit from the fact that the supply of Suezmax tankers is not excessive in historic perspective. Environmental regulations, increased steel and production costs, and higher interest rates make investing in new ships quite challenging. The world Suez Max fleet counted 583 vessels as of December 31st, 2024. The order book for Suez Max tankers now counts 97 vessels, which equals 17% of the world's conventional Suezmax fleet spread over the next 4 years. The historic average for order book percentage is about 20%. Yeah, only 26 tankers will enter in 2025, 34 in 2026, 333 in 2027. The available shipyard capacity for large oil tankers is low, leaving limited capacity to build additional Suezmax tankers with quality yards on this side of 2027. All of the above are good news for the short and long-term outlooks for our tankers. It is anticipated that the tanker markets will continue strong in coming years. I believe that to be so as well. The supply of tanker tonnage is inelastic in the short term. When there are too many ships in an area, rates tend to go down. When there is scarcity of ships, rates tend to go up. Short-term spot tankers rates may be expected to be volatile. So, okay, that's cool. So, okay, that's kind of like the letter to shareholders he had. He always does this every quarter. And I think it's good education as well. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but he explains his side of things in a really concise manner. So I really like the leadership at NAT, the family. They want to continue the dividend payments. They're working the company in ways to continue that and do it in a healthy way. So I am very bullish on tankers moving forward. I mean, I don't even know, are we even in the super cycle yet? That we still could be super early in the game, and it's been a year already. So let me go back to this. All right. Why is that weird? All right. So let me go back to this. So with the numbers from the filings, the numbers that I broke down is what we know of. So what we know of is we have 15 known ship rates right now for the company, right? And 14 of the ships are at spot rates, and one of the ships is at a rate of $36,000 for 5 years, and that's going to be $65.7 million for the whole term, right? And so that's $36,000 a day daily. And if you go back to October, there was this paid article, but this was the headline: Spanish oil company named as big money charterer of Nordic American tanker ship. The $36,000 per day rate bests multiple assessments. So, and that's for 5 years. And so when you look at it, what does that mean? They pay, in a lot of respects, the Spanish oil company, they pay in a lot of respects an elevated price, but they take this like almost an insurance policy if the rates go even higher. And I think right now the rates are at like 37,000, which they could go higher if the supply continues to dwindle and get inelastic even more. So it's a good deal for both sides. Herb and Nat and us, we get a high TCE rate regardless. I mean, we've been elevated for years, but we locked that in at least with this tanker, this one tanker, for 5 years. But also the oil company has insurance policy too, where if things do get out of control, they know they can still get their oil at $36,000 per day. So I like that. So we know 15 known ship rates, and so out of they have 21 ships now. So we don't know the other 6 ship rates, but for the 15 known ship rates, it's $197 $197 million in 2025. And now it's 21 ships, but I have 20 here. It'd be, with all ships at $36,000 for the time charter rates, that'd be $262.8 million. And so when you look at the book value right now, the book value of the company is $2.41. So there's $508 million in shareholder equity, and there's 211 million shares outstanding. So $2.41 is the book value. And right now, the company is trading at $2.50. So think about it. You're paying for a dividend paying company that has like a 14% dividend. The owner and son of the CEO keep buying shares, and we're going to get into that in a little second. And their commodity that they sell is on the rise, and their ships are now becoming even more of a premium. So when you're buying this company at book value, I think that's a no-brainer in my eyes. Not financial advice. But so this is from 2024 though. 2024 TC rates were the average time charter equivalent for our spot vessels during the fourth quarter of 2023 came in at 41,580 per day per ship, including vessels on term contracts. The total average NAT TCE was $39,000 per ship. The daily operating cost was about $9,000. So that's when it was peaking in 2023, when it was at $41 per day, $41,000 per day. We could be going back to those times. And on the next slide, we'll see the chart and what it did during that time. So for some gematria, we have Hansson family buying NAT at book equals 333 English ordinal, which is amazing. You want to see that. You also have that 117 in English reduction and that 153 in reverse reduction. But of course, you want to see that big 333. Hansson family buying NAT at book. And look, Dear shareholders and investors, non-executive vice chairman of NAT, Alexander Hansson, has bought 100,000 shares of NAT at $2.45. He is now holding 4.1 million shares. Following this transaction, the Hansson family owns 8.65 million shares of NAT, being the largest private shareholder group in the company. And I mean, that was on March 4th, a couple weeks ago. But you see all these buys from the company, December 4th, founder, chairman, CEO buys more share of NAT. You have his son on December 10th, non-executive vice chairman of NAT, Alexander buys more shares. Then you have Herb again buying shares the 12th. Then you have Herb's son again the 17th. Then on the 6th. Then in March. So, like, it's amazing to see they really believe in their company. And then on October 15th, they did announce that, dear shareholders and investors, NYSE listed Nordic Tankers is pleased to announce a 5-year time charter contract with major international energy company. The rate is in the mid-high 30s, and the contract is expected to commence in November 2024. So we've already been getting those revenues in. So this is good. And it was called Nordic Space. So that's the one they got. That's the ship that they got. So Nordic Space NAT stock shipping deal, 330 English ordinal. So these are all the things we want to see for this company. We're at book. Once again, look, we're at book. Commodity prices for oil and ships are going up higher. Things are becoming more of a premium. The CEO and his son continue to buy shares consistently. They own a large portion of the shares. They're getting high contract deals in. And they're making prudent decisions. They're buying ships, they're selling ships. They have that liquidity right now to make moves for the short term and long term. Let's look at the revenue chart first before we get into the actual stock price. So in 2020, they made 354 million. 2021, they made 191 million. So right off the bat, you're seeing the volatility depending on commodity prices. Then 2022 is when things start kicking up again. 339 million. Then in 2023, you got 391 million. So that's the best out of these 5 years right here. And in 2024, you had 225 million. So you see the volatility going up, going down drastically, going up drastically, going down drastically. Now let's look at the stock price chart, right? Because you see it. This is the 2023 mark right here. And you see, look at that. How much money did they make in 2023? 391 million. See the price shooting up. It actually gets up to 450, and it stays elevated in the fours, the 350s to the fours, all 2023. Even essentially, it's still above 350 halfway through 2024, with even revenues dropping. But look at that. And so you can see the cycles. But I feel like, and you can always say, oh, this time's different, this time's different. Well, supply issues is different than, of supply of ships is different than, supply of oil, right? So I think this is why it can be a little bit different. All right, and so let's look at some of the gematria we have as well. We have Trump tariffs. Trump tariffs help tankers, 333 in reverse ordinal. We have NAT holds 20 Suezmaxes. American oil tankers, the Trump era, that both equal 333 English ordinal. A low oil tanker supply past 2025, that's 330 English ordinal. A lot of connections here that are in our favor. Then we have oil tanking during Trump 2025 run. We have oil tanker supply squeeze helps NAT. Oil tankers to do well in the middle of 2020s. Those all equal 137 in English reduction, which is the 33rd prime. Tanker supply squeeze helps NAT stock 133. As you know, you can use the parent rule. You just cast off the 1, you got 33 right there. And then you got the 151 in reduction, reverse reduction for oil tanking during Trump 2025 run. Oil tanker supply squeeze helps NAT. So a lot of great things. Trump tariffs and oil, 222 in English ordinal. And first of all, let me get this out the way. Just because I'm breaking this down this way, that does not mean I'm a Trump supporter or anything like that. He's the president. I'm speaking on what could politically affect the business we're in. That's it. I don't get into politics. I don't do that. All right. So if anybody watches this, don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm just observing what's happening in the world so we can make better decisions in the stock market. Okay. And so that's what I have on Nordic American Tankers. I just went over some of their Q4 reports, and hopefully you learned some things. And I'm excited for the future. We have the Suez Maxes. We have good spot rates right now, and I think we have good management. So I'm okay holding. I'm okay holding for sure.